this evening. The inoculation started on 17th, and as of 5 o'clock this afternoon, we have vaccinated 17,888 people at the 96 hospitals. There has not been any reported anaphylaxis or any serious consequence of vaccine. Starting from the first week in March, in first week and the second week, we going to ship out 1,000 trays of Pfizer vaccine, which contain 195,000 vials. We are expecting to receive the third shipment on March 1st, and we are going to start shipping out to prefectures for the vaccination for doctors and nurses in the first week and second week in March. That totals 1,000 trays, 195,000 vials. As for the senior citizens, we are going to start vaccination for the senior citizens on April 12th, Monday. We are going to ship 100 trays or 19,500 vials in the week starting April 5th, Monday. And we are going to start vaccination on April 12th, Monday. We are going to send one tray, which has 195 vials, to 47 prefectures. And in addition to the first trays, Tokyo, Osaka, and Kanagawa will receive the second trays. So in the week of April 5th, we are sending out 50,000 senior citizens, and they can get twice with that. And the week of April 5th, we are shipping out 100 trays. Let me make it clear. In the week of April 5th, we are sending out 100 trays, and that would start vaccination on April 12th. And then in the week of April 12th, we are sending out 500 trays to all the prefectures. And then week of April 19th, again, we are sending out 500 trays to all the 47 prefectures in total. So I believe 10 trays for 44 prefectures and 20 trays for Tokyo, Kanagawa, and Osaka. In the week of April 26th, we are sending out enough vaccine so that all cities from Hokkaido to Okinawa could start vaccination as soon as they get the vaccine. That'll be the week of April 26th. It depends on if the city is ready to start vaccination soon, they can start soon. If they need to set up a system, it may take a couple of days. We are expecting to receive the third shipping from Pfizer, as I said, on March 1st. We are expecting 450 trays on March 1st. And we are hoping to receive 2,000 trays in total in the month of March. And hopefully, April on, the supply from the Pfizer will increase significantly. We cannot confirm the numbers. So that is my statement, and if you have any questions, I would try to answer as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now Minister will entertain questions from the reporters. Please click raise hand button if you have questions, and when you're appointed and unmuted, please state your name and affiliation before asking a question. So let's start with Simon Dinier, Washington Post.
I'm muted. Let me.
You are muted, Simon.
Yes, I'm here now. Okay, good. I hope you can hear me now. Given the slow pace, Minister, of supplies from Pfizer, I'm quite surprised that Japan has still not approved Moderna and AstraZeneca vaccinations. And I know that that's because Japan has to have its own clinical trials, but clinical trials for a couple of hundred people, according to all the experts I've spoken to, aren't really medically very valuable. So I wonder whether that requirement to have clinical trials for AstraZeneca and Moderna has not slowed down the process quite significantly, and it now leaves you in quite a difficult position depending on Pfizer, which is clearly not supplying on the pace that you were expecting.
Well, AstraZeneca applied for the approval on February 5th. And, well, I'm not quite sure when AstraZeneca vaccine will be approved. So my strategy as of now is we will vaccinate the senior people in Japan with Pfizer vaccination. Moderna hasn't applied for approval yet, so it will probably be even later than AstraZeneca. When Astra vaccine is approved, it's far easier to handle compared to Pfizer vaccine. So I could come up with certain strategy to speed up the process. But right now, my strategy is to vaccinate the senior people with Pfizer vaccine. And hopefully, starting from April, the supply will speed up.
Thank you very much. So next questioner is Robin Harding. Could you state your name and affiliation, please?
Robin Harding with the Financial Times. Sorry for my inappropriate dress and backdrop.
No problem. No problem.
So you said that you announced recently that vaccine supplies were going to be very limited through the month of April. So you clearly received updated information from Pfizer about their ability to supply the vaccine. Could you tell us what they have to say and what they are saying about what the constraints are on their production and what their ability is to increase supply going forward? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Pfizer got more demand than they could supply, so they had to add new manufacturing lines. And I think that would increase supply of vaccines significantly. We are simply waiting for the big wave coming, and hopefully the number, I'm still hoping the April number may increase somewhat, but starting from, well, springtime, I think the number should be bigger. And May, June, I think the number could be significantly bigger than now. So I think it's important to get all the municipalities in this country ready for vaccine supply and get ready to start inoculation.
Just to follow up, if Pfizer have an extra tray of the vaccine, what decides where that goes to, and who gets priority?
Well, right now, if we get the extra supply, I would like to finish up doctors and nurses. We were expecting 3.7 doctors, nurses, ambulance drivers, and some self-defense force members who often transport COVID-19 patients from some island to the mainland. We were expecting those number as 3.7 million, but right now I got nearly 5 million doctors and nurses and those who are related to COVID-19 patient. So if I get an extra supply, I would like to speed up the doctors and nurses first.
So my question was, if Pfizer can produce an extra tray, what decides if that goes to Japan or not?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next questioner is Mr. Rocky Swift. Could you state your affiliation, please?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, Minister Kono. My question is about an announcement by Takeda today, which gave a bit of an update on bringing the Moderna and Novavax vaccines to Japan. I wondered if you could comment on that announcement as far as you know, and also if these vaccines come in as expected, Japan will have an excess, especially from the Novavax vaccine, which is expected to be 250 million doses. So do you have any plan for what would happen to those excess vaccines perhaps being donated to COVAX? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, for Moderna vaccine, we have contract, and they're supposed to supply this year, and we will try to vaccinate people with Moderna vaccine. As for Novavax, we are not quite sure. We haven't got a contract yet, so we are not sure if they are coming this season or next season. And what kind of vaccine? Are they going to be good for the new type that coming up in UK or others? Or I have no information on that one yet. So right now, Novavax is not in my strategy right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I might understand that Mr. Rocky Swift is from Reuters. I think he's saying yes. Right. Okay, so the next question is Mr. Pio D'Emilia.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Minister. I have two quick questions. The first one is, as you know, in Italy, we have a big problem with Pfizer, same that you are starting to have in Japan, about the furnitures. And there is now a very dangerous development. Regions, which equals to Japanese prefectures, are ordering privately vaccines. Do you think that in Japan also it would be a possibility for the provinces, for the prefectures, to buy directly vaccines from Pfizer and, if possible, from the other company if they are authorized? The first question.
I don't think anyone's doing that.
Good. The second one is all European monarchs, including Queen Elizabeth, have been vaccinated, and some of them in public. Do you know, do we have information about the Joko being vaccinated or the Emperor? And if yes, are they going to announce it?
Well, the Emperor Emeritus will be vaccinated as a senior citizen, as he is older than 65. And the emperor turned 61, I think, yesterday. So he will receive vaccination as non-preferred status. Whether or not they will get the vaccine, they have their own choice. I'm not quite sure if they will announce their choice or not. I have not get in touch with the Imperial Household Agency, so I don't know. But they will, if they do get the vaccine, they will do so according to their status.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, I see Simon is raising his hand, but since he's a second timer, I just want to make sure that everybody else doesn't have any further questions. Well, if not, then Simon, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and I hope I'm not on mute this time. Minister, can I just pin you down a little bit on the timeline? And I know there are uncertainties, but you were talking about starting the senior citizens on April the 12th with a very limited number. Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea when you would finish with the 5 million health workers and doctors and nurses and so on that you mentioned? Because originally you were expecting to finish with them first and then start senior citizens. But mm-hmm. It sounds to me as though the 5 million now could take quite a lot longer than we'd originally thought. Is that accurate?
Well, originally I was expecting 3.7, but now it's up to 5 million, so it would take a bit longer. I'm not quite sure the number of actual supply in April yet, so I couldn't really give you the end game of the doctors and nurses. As I find out more concrete number, I would like to make an announcement how long that would take. But I don't think that will go on, such a long time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So time is rather running out. So let's have a couple of more questions and we'll finish it up. So we'll start with Lisa from Bloomberg, Rocky Swift from Reuters, and we have a reporter who actually came to the press conference who's sitting next to me, so I will give the floor to him. And Pio, you have the last question, so 4 of you, starting from Lisa.
Yes, hi, thanks. It's Lisa Du with Bloomberg News. I'm just curious, we're starting to see countries that have started vaccinations, like the UK, that started vaccinations earlier, like the UK and Israel, start making plans to reopen and lift restrictions. Does this make you feel any increased sense of urgency to speed up the vaccination process in Japan? And if so, how will you do that?
Well, the number of COVID-19 patients in Japan is lower than UK or any European country. So what is important here in Japan is take a firm step forward. There has been some history concerning vaccination in this country starting 1970s, I think, and recently we have experienced some issue concerning HPV vaccination. So we would like to make sure people understand the risk and the benefit of this COVID-19 vaccination. And I hope more and more people are willing to vaccinate it, including the younger generation. So what is important is we just take firm step forward and not in a hurry and do some kind of loose job.
So I just one more question. What thoughts do you have kind of about delaying the second dose beyond the 21 days so that you can maybe get the first shots into more people?
Well, right now my strategy is to give the second shot exactly after 21 days. That is my strategy right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Rocky, you have the floor.
To be honest, I believe Ms. Du from Bloomberg stole my thunder there. I just wanted to clarify some comments earlier that if Japan would consider, splitting up those doses for the aged, but I believe Mr. Kono answered that. Unless you have something else to add, Mr. Kono.
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The next questioner is the gentleman sitting next to me, Mr. Khardon Azhari from the Pan Arab News.
Yes, well, Mr. I just have follow-up on your question about vaccination of Japanese leaders. I hear that Prime Minister Suga visited some vaccination center 2 days ago. I'm wondering if Japanese cabinet members are going to take vaccinations publicly. And very quickly, secondly, is Japan going to punish people who use vaccinations from other sources? Like I heard some embassies are giving vaccinations to certain citizens of their countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the Prime Minister said in the Parliament he will get vaccinated as his term comes up. He's over 65 years old, so sometime in April, May, or time frame, or even later. Well, Minister Tamura, the Minister of Health, and myself, we are younger than 65. So we don't get any preferred status, so we wait for our turn for vaccination. I don't know if Prime Minister is taking vaccine shot in front of TV camera or not, but he's been saying he will get vaccinated, so I'm pretty sure he will get one. I would like to get one. I'm not sure if I would like to do that in front of camera. I'm not fond of needles. We'll see.
Thank you very much. So the last questioner will be Pio, but could you make it really quick because we are receiving one more question from Patrick Welter from Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. So one very quick question from two of you.
Mute. You're on mute. Can't hear you. Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. My last question is, are vaccinations somehow connected with the Olympics? In other words, in the past, we heard that Japan could safely host the Olympics because for the time, both athletes and Japanese citizens would be vaccinated. Now, it doesn't look like we can achieve this. Do you think that the result of the vaccination campaign in Japan can bear any effect, any influence on the Olympics?
Well, my vaccine strategy does not take Olympic Games or Paralympic Games into consideration. They are not on my schedule at all.
Okay. What are
Thank
you?
you.
Not,
Thank
what
you very
is
much,
not
Minister.
on your schedule? The Olympics is not on your schedule?
Nope.
I see. Okay.
Thank you, Minister. And one last question comes from Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, Mr. Patrick Welter. How much does Japan pay for Pfizer-BioNTech per vaccination dose? Do you have any answer to it?
I don't think I'm at the liberty of saying that.
Right. Thank you very much. So that concludes today's press conference by Minister Kono, and thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, Minister, for your press conference.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.